Hey, welcome to another episode of Dave's Imaginations. Today, we're going to recap our game from Thursday, December 8th. Last night, a ton of stuff happened as we continue our journey through the Misty Forest in search of Chuth and Neronvain. As we battle the Sorrowsworn, we have to kill 4 of the Sorrowsworn to find the entrance to the lair. As we continue that battle, we'll go through that in just a moment. Stay with me. So, when last we met, Strider escaped the clutches of the lost, and we continued our path through the narrow path through the Misty Forest with the fog thick on either side of us as we battled the lonely. And Barkworm had gotten hit by a barb and pulled in, and we dispatched that particular lonely, and then another one had come in and attacked Olak, but we chased it away with a plague storm, I believe it was. And we had made our way to the Mistvale Lake, a lake that at first looked like a pleasant lake with turtles in the middle of it, until Ruckus had jumped in and realized this was no pleasant lake. We broke the mirage, and it had been poisoned. And as Ruckus pulls himself, it's no pleasant lake. And those turtles that we had been frolicking weren't really turtles. They were the angry, the tougher of the 5 Sorrowsworn, as we had already encountered and defeated the wretched, and we already encountered and defeated the lost and the lonely, and we came to this lake, and it's the angry, but the angry, as Christiana informed us, was not the toughest. We've missed one. The hungry are the 4th. The angry are actually the toughest, as 2 of these had come from the lake, and they had focused their attacks on one of them, and even though they'd gone underwater with the fairy fire, they were able to target that specific one and took down 250 plus hit points, taking down that one. And once they had defeated that one and seeing 10 more of them approaching them from the water, they decided tactically, smartly probably, to retreat as they went back from whence they came on the path, as they wound themselves back through. Now, as they made their retreat, glowing as Grolgark, the gold dragon, covers their retreat with a fiery breath, and I did a roll to see if the angry would continue to follow them. As we rolled on the mythic table and asked if they pursued, and I said it was likely, although things were chaotic, and mythic came back and said no, but they said no with a random event. And that random event through the Mythic emulator said that it was an NPC action, a non-player character action, and it was going to arrive, and a plot were the 2 clues they give me. And with that, I decided that it was that. So previous to this, as they were making their last round of attacks on the angry, I said from across the lagoon there was the waterfall that had been crashing, and from that waterfall bursting through was a great adult green dragon, letting out his blood-curdling roar, right, as it makes 2 flaps up in the air as it realizes that his lagoon, his lair, has visitors. And so with this mythic revelation that there was an NPC arrival plot, I added to that there was a rider on this dragon, and this rider had said something to the effect of that they had visitors, and then the green dragon answered in Draconic, and we had some people that actually spoke Draconic had answered that yes, Neronvain, and you should send your minions after them. And so with that, but our party was able to escape away from the angry and back along the path as they wound their way through, and eventually they came to a rise. And in this rise, as they come around, they could hear the sounds of 2 animals battling, the squabbling, of roars and hisses and sounds of 2 animal, I wouldn't say 2, but animals battling each other. And as they come around, they realize that the sounds are just coming less than 30 feet from within the vegetation to their south. And I gave them all initiative, and on Gloin's initiative, he pokes his head into the vegetation and lets go with his fire breath. And with that, he unknowingly, he took out an owlbear that was battling four of the hungry that were battling this owlbear, and that began the battle of with the hungry. Now, as we took their turns and the battle commenced on the Sorrowsworn, right? These are Sorrowsworn, the hungry, lost, lonely, wretched. These are all Sorrowsworn. Now, I made it on the Sorrowsworn's turn, and then on a second and third turn, we had a bunch of those wretched, those two-legged, pig-like teeth creatures came in, herding past and over the path, and I gave each person a chance with opportunity to take, but they devised this, that these wretched weren't after them, but they were actually after that dead owlbear, and so they let them pass. And it was probably a good thing they didn't want to pick a fight with was there 10, 20 of those things? There was many of them, and they let them pass as they go to the owlbear. And as they did that, the battle commenced. We had four of those Sorrowsworn, four of those hungry turned their attention from the owlbear, the now dead owlbear, to our party. And remember, again, we're in this thick fog. You can only see 10 feet in either direction of you. You can't see beyond that. But we know that our party's there, and we know that they were under attack, and that these hungry were attacking. And boy, did they! These hungry were no joke. They didn't have the 250, but they had more than 200 hit points, and they had these ability that if anyone were to gain hit points, that they would get buffed. They would get additional damage they would get advantage on their attack, and they would get additional damage on their bite attack. And through that battle, Strider fell. Strider fell to the damage, and Barkworm teleported over and covered himself and Strider in a globe of invulnerability and pushed a healing potion down Strider's throat to save Strider. All the while this battle is commencing, and our team is taking quite considerable amount of damage. I believe Christiana got down to under 10 hit points, but each of them had taken quite a bit. And as the battle is going on, each of them had at least one of these Sorrowsworn on them, and one of them was in particularly on Grolgark the Gold, Gloin's gold dragon. And actually, by the end of the night, had done enough damage through critical attacks, through this buff of being healed, these creatures getting a buff to their rolls, to getting advantage, not to mention the extra damage from their bite attack. And the one that attacked on Grolgar, after being whittled down after turn of damage, this one hit with all of its attacks, and at least one of them was with advantage, with a critical hit, and hit Grolgark with over 100 points of damage. It wasn't that hit, but it was the next round. The next hit was enough to take Grolgark the Gold down, unconscious. And with that, during the previous to that, once Strider had fallen, these wretched had turned their attention. Some amount of those wretched that were feasting on this owlbear had turned their attention to Strider, and were bouncing off and sliding down this globe of invulnerability. But when Grolgark fell and converted back to Gloin, as he was failing his saving throw. He passed the first one, but the second and third one, as the wretched had turned their attention from Strider to Gloin, they went over, and two of them hit and did their damage to Gloin as he lay there dead, giving him two failed death saves. And then on his turn, Gloin rolled and failed his third death saves, taking Gloin, our dwarf cleric, down. Our dwarf that has the ability to do the resurrection falls in battle, and in his death, he looks up and he sees this light in the sky. And as he goes to it, he sees that the light is not a light of heaven, but it's the eyes of Vampire, the dark god that had given him the ability of turning into the gold dragon. And he says, Gloin, I will return you to life, but for a price. And that's where we ended our night. We have to find out, does Leonard, who plays this character, accept this gift? Does he pursue this thought of what he might do? This can't be good, right? This bargain, this deal with the devil can't be a good thing, but it would be an opportunity, a path to being resurrected. And so we'll have to see if we pursue that, or what Leonard will want to do with his character. So we'll see all that. And so tell me, what's going to happen next? What should happen next? Oh, a couple things I missed. As through the battle, Olak and Christiana make a tactical retreat, and as they go down the path, they come down to the path and they overhear humanoids on the path as they're, and they overhear them saying, "Oh, they said the female was in this area somewhere." And it's because if we remember, everyone is wearing these leis of ribbons around their flowers around their neck, except for Christiana. Those ribbons gave them some amount of protection from scrying, some protection from fear, but Christiana didn't have it, as she was in the lamp at the time when that happened. So Christiana doesn't have it, and so she is susceptible to the visibility that Chuth has through the woodland creatures in his lair, and so they are able to see Christiana, and that has been relayed to some humanoids that are on the path looking for him, because remember, the minions of Chuth and Neronvain have been sent out in search of this party, and that's certainly who these people are as they're coming up the path. So on the one side of the path you have these people, this search party. On the other end of the path you have the wretched, and our party was able to kill all but one of the hungry, but one of them is out there somewhere. Where could they be? Will it attack? You have some number of these wretched. Now, they're easy. They're only like 10 hit points, and they're not hard to hit. But they do have pack tactics, so they're not anything to be trifled with. And they have resistance to even magical bludgeoning, piercing, slashing type of damage. So it's no joke. But you have on the one hand this party of people coming in search of them, and on the other hand they have the Sorrowsworn right here. And they are low in hit points, and they're low in spell slots. What are we going to do? What's going to happen next? I don't know. What's Gloin going to do? What's going to happen to Gloin/Grogart? I don't know. We're going to have to figure out all this next week on Dave's Imagination Presents Dark Queen Ascension, The Fallen. Now, before you sign off, if you don't mind, please hitting that like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And until next week, take care. We'll see you then. Bye.